Who supports this woman in her marriage with this man? Thank you. Please give your daughter a hug.
You're the best guy. Thank you. Thank you. I really do admire you and I respect you. Thank you for being such a good man.
To love a person is to learn the song in their heart and then to sing it to them when they've forgotten. And if everyone can please be seated. In each and every moment, we have the freedom to choose, and every choice we make determines the direction of our lives. And so I ask, who comes to be united in marriage?
We do.
I welcome you. A wedding is a time for fun and joy with friends and family gathered to witness the joining of two individuals as they embark on their new shared life. But it's also a time when our thoughts inevitably turn to those people who cannot be with us today, and especially those who are no longer among us. Ben and Christy would like to take a moment to remember Christy's uncle Wayne Broussard, a beautiful human being who completed his journey before this day came to be. Now understand, this isn't a time for sadness. Whenever a loved one passes, we should celebrate the life that they lived and bring to mind the love and experiences that they shared with their family and their friends. Of her Uncle Wayne, Christy says, "My Uncle Wayne was an incredibly unique individual. He was supportive, creative, funny, classy, and fashionable." Uncle Wayne had an exuberant and refreshing nature about him. He was always empathetic, even when he was struggling. Family meant everything to Uncle Wayne, and he brought so many of us together, many of whom are traveling quite far to attend the wedding today. Uncle Wayne lived with my family, with Christy's family, for nearly 3 years when she was a junior in junior high. She was in junior high. Catherine in high school, Henry in elementary, and Camille was just a toddler at the time. She says, "My mom worked full-time while my dad and Uncle Wayne took care of us crazy kids at home. Uncle Wayne taught me some of the most important life lessons. I can attribute all of my street smarts to him. He always listened to me, and in many ways, he understood me better than anyone else." She says, "Uncle Wayne was my best friend. He was many people's best friend. One of the fondest memories we have of Uncle Wayne are what we call Waynerisms, which were phrases and silly sayings and words and nicknames that Uncle Wayne would always use. A couple of those were, 'Hey, thrill seekers,' which he would say enthusiastically every time he walked in the door. And then, of course, Christy says her long-lasting nickname, 'Oh, hey, Christy Wisty.' She goes, I personally know that Uncle Wayne would be so proud to see the woman that you become. And I know that he would simply adore you. How could he not?" Washington Irving wrote, "There's a sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. They are the messengers of overwhelming grief and unspeakable love." And I'd like to ask if we can all pause for a moment of silence so that each of you can remember somebody that you... In the words of United States Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy, "No union is more profound than marriage, for it embodies the highest ideals of love, fidelity, devotion, sacrifice, and family. In forming a marital union, two people become something greater than they once were. Love is the only sane and satisfactory answer to the challenges of human existence. It brightens our lives and the world when we can develop our capacity for love on the only level that really counts. A love that is compounded of maturity, self-knowledge, and courage. Learning to love, like all of the other arts, demands practice, patience, and mindfulness. In love, the paradox occurs that two people become one and yet remain two. The marriage commitment represents promises of hope between two people who love each other sincerely, who honor each other as individuals, and whose intention is to completely unite all aspects of their lives and share their future together. Today, Benjamin and Christiane will dedicate themselves to the happiness and well-being of each other in a union of mutual caring and responsibility. Now, being the night owls that they are, and roommates at the time, when Christy would come home from her job at the coffee shop around 1 or 2 a.m., these two would just sit around and share conversation and laughter for hours, often until 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning, sometimes even until sunrise. From the very beginning, they've always communicated well, and both agree that honesty and forthrightness is the core to their partnership. For them, it's always felt like the concept of time doesn't exist when they have those long periods of conversation. Ben and Christy's relationship began with several continuous and very deep conversations, night after night. They know and they understand one another for who they truly are, for better or for worse. For Ben and Christy, marriage means embarking on their greatest adventure ever. Or as they like to call it, the first chapter of their so-called adult lives. Ben and Christy have chosen to put their faith in a partnership based in mutual love and devotion. And that's what has allowed them as individuals to grow in their respective ways. It has been, and will continue to be, the maturing of love, freely given and gladly returned, both ordinary and extraordinary. Now, Ben and Christy met, like a lot of couples do these days, as roommates. Now, it's a funny story. Actually, it was like October of 2012. Christy had just moved back home to Seattle from a 4-year-long hiatus during what she worked on several farms in California and lived in an arts cooperative in Baltimore, Maryland. Christy was looking for a place to live in Seattle, saw Ben's ad on Craigslist, met and hit it off with Ben and his roommate David. Christy ended up moving into this quaint little craftsman home with these two guys in the Ravenna neighborhood. On their first official date, it started with a walk through the Ravenna woods in Seattle. They explored and they talked and they laughed into the night, and they finished off a flask of whiskey right before dawn. Then they went out to breakfast somewhere east of Capitol Hill. Then the date didn't even end there. Brunch followed. Then they ended up at the thrift shop stop where they bought some new dining room chairs for the house. Now, both Ben and Christy know how fortunate it was that their lives crossed paths, connected, and have continued to merge. And I would hope that through their actions, they'll inspire others to recognize the potential of themselves and of their own partners. Now, I'm standing here with these guys looking at all of you, and I know that each of you put a great deal of effort to be here today. I know most of you aren't from Whidbey Island, right? So it was a little bit of a trek to get here. I know that Ben and Christy explained all of you to me like this. They wrote, Ben's family comes from everywhere in the U.S., but primarily the Midwest, Iowa, Illinois, did I miss a state? And a couple other Midwest places. And Christy's family is quite the diverse group. We have the Broussard, the Websters, and the Walkers that span from Louisiana, Colorado, Maryland, and California. They're all wonderful people who are overjoyed to share this very special day with these two. And so to each and every one of you, Ben and Christy offer their heartfelt appreciation, and they just want you to know that they couldn't imagine this day without all your smiling faces. And they thank you for your love, and they thank you for your support, and they thank you for your presence here today. And so I ask, do you, the family and friends of Ben and Christy, now promise to give them your love and your support and bestow your blessing on this union? If so, please respond by saying, "We do."
We do!
Then we shall proceed.
All right. We shall proceed. Let's get ready to rumble. No.
Now, guys, you should know,
Okay.
as your officiant, I love love. I do. And in my head and in my heart, I know it intimately. I love my relationship with my other half. But one of the things I love about what I do is meeting other couples who know love too, like Ben and Christy. And in the time that we've spent hanging out, drinking coffee, bouncing emails back and forth, I've learned a few things about them. I know that they love their families. They love being close to their families, actively participating and just spending time with their family and sharing in their history and the culture that comes from this unique blend of family. I know that they love to travel, they love to camp, hike, they love to build fires and chat. I also know that they love to nerd out about all of their passions and all their thoughts and ideas. They love playing Go and chess. So if you like to win at those games, don't play them. I know they have one dog named Daisy. And I asked him what kind of dog that was, and Christy, luckily, had done its DNA. And I understand that the Daisy is 50% Blue Heeler, 25% German Shepherd, 12.5% Boxer, 12.5% Golden Retriever, but you can't tell by looking at it. Daisy couldn't be with us today because it just didn't work out. So if I could just get a woof woof from the house. Woof woof. Take that back to Daisy, let her know. I know the long term for these two, as a couple, they want to own a house. They want to raise some children. They're not rushing into that, just saying. Maybe one day they want to build their own clean energy company. Ben would write and manage the software because that's what he does. And Christy would do some sort of physics-based earth science. Benjamin's future is to design and build his own electronic musical synthesizer. And Christy, she says, I want to own like 10 acres of forested land, working as a forest manager, get some more cattle dogs, you've been warned. She says maybe 3 in total. And then she really wants to publish a scientific research paper that has her name listed first. And it's going to happen, you know why? Because you got the right man to get you there.
That was a good one.
And you would think that that's enough for me to know about Ben and Christy, but I'm curious. So the other day when they were just so busy, I sent them each an email and I said, tell me 3 things you love about your fiance and a favorite memory from your relationship so far. And whatever you do, don't tell each other what you told me. However, I'm going to tell all of you what both of them shared with me. And I'm going to start off with the favorite memory of Christy's. And she says, I have a lot of awesome memories with Ben. But one that I remember in the moment, she says, was a kayak camping trip. It was 2 days in Olympia. And the original plan was to camp out like on Hope Island. But these guys, they like a challenge. So they decided to go to, what is that, Squaxin Reservation, where it's illegal to camp. But,
illegal.
well, in the sense of the word, it's not like you get a ticket. And they ended up spending the time there, but they had to hide their kayaks so no one would know that they were there. And then they hung out on this bluff, and she says that was cool, dude. Ben says, I love Christy's curiosity. She's always reinventing herself, which means he never knows where she's going. But he's always ready for the ride. And Christy says, I love that Ben is a great listener, an active listener and participant. Ben says, I love Christy's passion that the world should be and can be a better place. Christy says, I love you, Ben. Always supports my ambitions. Going back to school, he pushed me to do that, and she's grateful for that, Ben. Ben says, I love the way Christy makes me comfortable to be myself. Christy says, I love that Ben is very intricate and detail oriented. Yeah, sometimes it bugs me.